What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and tonight I've got another edition of The Drive-In, where I watch recently released films and tell you guys whether they're worth watching, worth waiting for, or worth skipping altogether. I've got my third review of this week coming up. I've been doing the scheduled posts twice a week, Tuesdays movie reviews and Fridays Steeler reviews. Let me know if you guys like those. I've been doing 2 a week. It's more than I usually do. I shot a bunch at one time, scheduled them. I've been losing some subscribers, definitely lost a couple subs. So if you guys don't like that and want me to go back to a different format, let me know. But I wanted to bring you guys an impromptu review and break into my schedule today because I just saw a movie that I would say is probably the one I most anticipated for the entire year, one I wanted to see the most for sure, in my nostalgic little heart and lover of 90s slashers. When I saw that I Know What You Did Last Summer was doing a legacy sequel for the first time truly since I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, really made my heart happy and made me excited to see what was going to happen. I came back from seeing this with two of my friends, Trish and Trin. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me, letting me watch so I could review this. Appreciate you guys. Saw this movie and I came home and I gave it like an hour and a half. I usually come home and I jump right on here to bring you guys the review as quick as possible. And I gave myself an hour and a half to really digest and think about the movie and give myself a chance to dive in and dig into some things that I might have not thought through or not thought about and put myself in the mind of the writers and characters, which is more than I usually do for this, because I was trying to connect to more than I connected to when I first watched the movie. I'm going to bring you guys this review spoiler-free. It just came out today, so I'm not going to spoil this movie. I'm going to give you guys a deep dive as vaguely as possible so I don't spoil anything, but I'm going to dive right into it. Let's get into it and talk about the ups and downs. I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025, aka Part 3, was written by Jennifer Caton Robinson, Sam Lansky, and Leah McKendrick, and directed by Jennifer Caton Robinson, who I know from a slick little 2020s drama revenge kind of movie, a salacious, seductive drama revenge kind of movie called Do Revenge. Really, really solid 2020s teen drama style movie. So I thought she would adapt well to an I Know What You Did Last Summer style script. This movie is starring Madison Klein as Danica, Chase Sweet Wonders as Ava, and Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. reprising their roles from the first two I Know What You Did Last Summer movies, respectively. And also, got to put this out there because the big scuttlebutt this week was Jennifer Love Hewitt on the red carpet. Got a lot of backlash for being a mother in her 40s, for not looking the same way body-wise that she used to look like in the 90s. Jennifer Love Hewitt was, and will always be amazing. She looks amazing. She's talented and phenomenal. And anyone body-shaming a mother in her 40s can go to hell. You guys are idiots if you're doing that. Be respectful and be cool. Jennifer Love Hewitt is beautiful. So first things first, positives. Kills and kills and gore. I'm sorry, I can't even read my own writing. The kills and gore in this were solid. They kind of do take up the original movies and kind of ratchet up the kills and gore in this. They linger on them a little longer. You see a little more gore. You see a little more symbolic vision with the kills. They definitely built on the old Fisherman with the Hook and lingered on some things, did a little more in editing, did a little more with blood, higher budget in a modernized time. So you do get some fun kills in this movie, standard fun stuff from slashers, and ratcheted up now because the budget and the style of modern gore are more appropriate in 2025. So I really enjoy the kills and gore in this movie. There's some good body positioning things. There's some good moments that they linger on. And it leads to some nice shots that are going to stand out to you. The cinematography overall in this is pretty decent. Nothing amazing and special, but definitely some cool standout shots, and the gore definitely adds to those shots. So if you like kills and gore, this is not going to revolutionize anything. It is definitely an upticked kind of higher end version of a 90s slasher in this sense. But if you like those kind of kills and you like lingering on gore, you're going to like this. Second big positive in this movie is Easter eggs. We're coming here to see the nostalgia, right? 90s horror fans, you're coming for the Easter eggs. You're coming for the callbacks to the originals. You're coming for the nostalgia baiting of the requel, sequel, right? As they call it now, a requel, a legacy sequel, all these stupid terms now. But the Easter eggs are nice. There are some mentions of old characters. You see a couple of names. You see a couple of visions. You see a couple of pictures. You see a couple of images that call back to different things, different lines from the originals. They do pepper in enough kind of soft things and enough kind of big things for fans of the original to go, ooh, I remember that. Nice little callback there. Some are subtle, some are not so subtle, and they punch you in the face. But that's one of the things that I look forward to, if they're done well, in these Legacy sequels. And I think for the most part, a couple are kind of ham-fisted. There's one particular Vision thing that's like, okay, they did a little weird thing with some CGI looking stuff with one of the previous things in the franchise. Trying to be vague here. One of the things is a little over the top and silly and goes on a little too long in my opinion. But most of the references and moments are pretty fun and enjoyable. Ham-fisted, yes, but fun for fans of the original too. Danica and Ava's friendship. That is the one thing I think of these new modern characters, the new characters, that stood out was the friendship between the two main characters. And I don't think their acting was bad. Madeline Klein and Chase Sweet Wonders here, I think, are solid. They didn't super stand out. We'll talk about the new characters here in a second. But I do like the friendship that these two characters had. A couple of their conversations felt a little bit like reuniting friends and felt realistic to the world changing too fast and losing touch with your friends and coming back together and trying to hold on to that bond and be there for each other in tough times. A couple of conversations had some heart to it and put a little extra bite into the movie, so I appreciated that. Now on to the negatives, because that's all the positives that I got. So on to the negatives. Number one, use of legacy characters. While I love that Jennifer Love Hewitt, no pun intended, and Freddie Prinze Jr. are in this movie, and that's the big reason I went to see it, the way they're used, I don't like. I'm not going to spoil anything. We're not going to get into any big character arcs. I'm not going to talk about that stuff here. It just came out. Go see it. But the use of Jennifer Love and Freddie Prinze and some of the other references to characters of the past, I didn't like the way these legacy characters were used. In my opinion, they didn't explore enough of them. We didn't see enough about their lives. We didn't get enough of their reactions. We didn't get enough integrating them into the story. Toward the end, we kind of did get some things, and I won't spoil anything. But I didn't, for the most part, they feel like a bit of an afterthought, who are just kind of thrown in to say little funny things and make little meta references and say some old lines, and it feels like they were just kind of thrown in, and they're afterthoughts to the new characters who do not grab your attention the same way these characters do. Fans of the original are going to come to see the original characters, and people that don't know the original ones are not going to be terribly grabbed by these new characters, in my opinion. So I think that Freddie and Jennifer, if I can be so familiar, were a little bit underused here, and some of the stuff they were used for didn't connect to me. They didn't fully explore certain things, they didn't answer enough questions, and the stuff they were involved in at times felt like they were just there to be wind-up toys where you pull the string and get the nostalgia thing out and then go back to the status quo. So the use of these characters, I didn't like. Unexplored themes, that goes into the last one I talked about. There are some really good themes here that they could have explored, both with the legacy characters and with the new characters. And I think what makes the first movie and even the second one special, in my opinion, is that you feel the characters' grief. When the thing they did last summer happens, you see how it tears apart their friendships. You see how it changes them, how it hardens them, how it pulls them further apart, how things are different when they come back together, how these events have really triggered and changed them, and ratcheting up tension as you see these characters face these new dilemmas and face each other, not just the killer aspects, but the social aspects of their own relationships. They feel real and tense in the first one, and even a little about the same in the second one. And you don't necessarily feel that in this movie. The legacy characters' themes, they have kind of touch on it a little tiny bit, and you go, ooh, that's a pretty interesting tact and a cool way to do this, and they don't go through with it. They don't follow through with certain points of where they are in their lives and what they're dealing with. And the original character, or the new characters that come back, or that are part of this kind of main sect of plot, they don't really go anywhere emotionally. You don't feel any emotion or bond with these characters. You get the standard, yeah, we're a couple, or yeah, we're fighting, or yeah, whatever, but it feels very surface level. You don't get the exploration of the tension of the events that are happening in their lives and how they're feeling about them and how they're growing and changing for better and for worse through the bond and the tearing apart aspect of this trauma they're going through. You don't feel it. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of stakes, and that's another point we'll get to. Tension. For a scary movie, this movie ain't very scary. I will say there's some really good jump scares in the first two. I'm a jumpy guy with a neurologic disorder, and I jumped a few times in theaters. I had a couple little flinches, but they kind of overexpose the visage of the killer or killers at certain times in this. You kind of see the slicker, the shadow. While I like the look of that character, they kind of show him too soon, or some of the jump scares don't really hit, or the sound design doesn't match with the jump scare as much. So the tone feels a little bit off, and honestly, for a horror film, there doesn't feel like a lot of tension. With the jump scares, the sound design, before the kills happen, and with the characters, you're not feeling a sense of tension. In the first two, and I hate to keep going back to this, but that's what we're comparing them to. That's what this franchise is part of, and that's why we're in theaters, is a legacy sequel. In the first one especially, the whole thing feels tense. All the twists of the whodunit and all of the arguments of the characters and how they change. You feel the tension in both the scares and the relationships. You don't feel that in this movie. Next point, stakes, like I said before. Even as characters are getting killed and bodies are dropping and people are supposed to be psychologically unfurling and dealing with the consequences of their actions and their friends' actions and who's alive and who's not and who are the killers and or one killer, multiple killers, who is, who's not, why are they doing this? You don't really care for the most part. It doesn't feel like there's stakes because the characters aren't really treating their situations that seriously. They're not acting to their best ability. There's moments of weird dialogue delivery. There's moments of weird comedy when there shouldn't be. They're shoehorning things in, and it doesn't feel like these characters care about anything. There are a few moments, but for the most part, it feels like we're just watching a run-of-the-mill slasher where we're just waiting for characters to die and meant to be cheering on the killer or killers because the main characters don't seem to care about each other or themselves, and they don't really stand out in any way. And that's my next point. The new characters, they're so forgettable that I could not remember initially one single name of one of the new characters. I knew the legacy ones, and that's it. I couldn't remember any of these characters. In fact, I thought one of the actors played a different character. That is how forgettable some of these characters are. There's one slight thing in the beginning of the movie that you're like, okay, there's something to build on there, and they never quite build on it, and none of the other characters have really anything to build on. The one saving grace, like I said earlier, is the dynamic of the couple conversations between Danica and Ava. Danica and Ava have some nice heart-to-hearts about their friendship, and there's some genuine feeling there, and that's nice. Aside from those one or two scenes, there's nothing. Nothing in the way of emotion, nothing in the way of character depth or change or growth. Even when things start to unfurl and you figure out what's going on, you're not really invested. You're not invested at all. The dialogue in this movie, while not all terrible, is pretty rough. Man, there are some lines in this movie that made me cringe. And I get it. I am the wrong audience for a Gen Z dialogue-based movie. When we're going to get into teen slashers and Gen Z now, it's not for me. I'm a 38-year-old man. And there are some movies out there that do this that I absolutely hate. I'm just reviewed one on my channel a little bit ago called It's What's Inside, and I hated that dialogue. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies that I reviewed a year or two ago, hated that dialogue. When it feels like writers who are not Gen Z are trying to write for Gen Z, it feels like a writer trying to write for Gen Z. It feels forced. It feels ham-fisted. It feels silly. And there's one character in particular that just overdoes it over the top, and it makes it a little funny because that one character is meant to be that way. But the way they modernize this dialogue, I know I'm not the audience for it. I'm not supposed to be impressed by it. I'm 38. But boy, there are some cringeworthy moments of dialogue in this movie, and by and large, it is more bad than good. And finally, the reveal. I did not like the reveal. Something happens where things come out and you go, okay, maybe I kind of missed a connection here. Maybe I missed something. And then there's a turn that happens way too quickly. And you go, oh, okay, that was all that was? And then there's another kind of reveal. They twist something into something else. And then you go, okay, how did so-and-so character figure that out? And also, I don't like that twist. One of the twists they get in toward the ending, they didn't explore themes enough to make it work for me, and I really, really hated it. One of the few things I was invested in this movie took a turn for the worse, and I really hated the reveal. Again, part of a reveal came in way too flippantly. Things, again, the beats and the pacing of it were way too quick, and then something else happened, and I went, oh no, that's even worse. I would rather it have just been kind of what the first bend of twists was, right? So, didn't like the reveal. So, overall, it's not a terrible movie. There are some fun lines to be had. The new characters are fine. They're not overbearing for the most part. There are some good references and moments for the legacy characters. I just think, like I said before, in summation of this whole thing, the movie doesn't feel like it runs too long. It's an hour and 51, and spoiler free, but if you're going, stay for the mid-credit scene. There is an important mid-credit scene that's probably one of my biggest positives of the movie. Does it jump the shark a little bit? Is it a little too much, too kind of on the nose? Probably. Did we kind of expect something like this? Probably. But it's still pretty fun to see and pretty solid as a positive that I'll add to my positives list. That being said, the legacy characters don't get to do enough and do enough things that you want to see them do and kind of explore them enough in the right ways to make you happy. So if you're an old fan, you're going to be like, oh, I don't like that. And if you're a new fan that's just coming to see a new slasher movie because you heard your parents talking about this other one, you're not going to be engaged with the new characters. The old characters aren't given enough to do or enough positive to do, and the new characters don't stick with you for 5 minutes, and they don't feel like they matter to themselves or each other. So I'm going to give this movie a 4.5 out of 10, close to average but a little below in my opinion. It's worth watching. If you love the OGs, go and check it out for Freddie Prinze and Jennifer Love. You're going to have some moments where you giggle because you know what they're talking about. You're part of the joke, and that's what's cool about nostalgia. Other than that, not a whole lot to see here. I'm vastly disappointed coming off the two amazing 90s movies. Don't watch I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. That stinks too. That's worse than this. But 4.5 out of 10. What did you guys think? If you saw I Still Know What You Did Last Summer 2025, tell me in the comments down below. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like these movie deep dives. And if you want me to make a spoiler video where I go in depth on the plot, the killers, and all that stuff, let me know what you think about this. And if you want some spoilers, we will talk spoilers, but always be respectful of people that didn't see the movie yet. So take care, guys. Stay scared, and I'll see you soon.